Okay, so my name is C.T. Holman. I'm a practitioner in Salem, Oregon on the West Coast of the United States. I'm a general family practitioner. I focus on emotional trauma and also on shamanic techniques. And I'm very honored to be here today to talk about awakening consciousness and love through facial diagnosis. As Lauren said, I studied with Lillian Pearl Bridges for many years. I taught with her. And today I really want to have this be a dedication to Lillian. Her birthday would have been last week, and she really was strong as an influence in trying to talk about love in Chinese medicine, talking about how do we instill love in our patients. And she was great at that. And one thing that she worked with a lot was destiny, Ming, and she would call it golden path. And she would help people get on their golden path. It would just be like a couple sentences she would say to someone, and it would completely change her trajectory. So when we look at someone, when they walk in our door, we can assess them pretty quickly in terms of their elemental makeup. We can look at their hair, their body type, and see what their elements are. Like for this woman here, she's fire and metal. We'll talk about how I got to that in a moment. But so we see that as a broad stroke understanding of this person. But then we can use the facial features to look more specifics. You know, for her, she's really good at verbal acuity. She's really good with words. She really is meant to be out in the world. And she's really great with communication. And I'll talk about how I found that too. So really, she's a very entertaining person in communications. And that's something that we can communicate to her. It doesn't mean she has to be on television news or communicating something in a corporate world. It could be anything, but these are her talents that she has. And if she can use those, she'll really thrive and her Shen will be fully embodied. So on this course day, we're going to talk about Ming destiny. And Ming destiny is more than just, oh, what is destiny? It's Ming. There's more to it. And so I'll be talking about those aspects of what it is when we really are on our destiny path, and what does that mean for the patients, and what are some things that will come up along our path that will let us know that we are on our destiny path. And so we'll be looking at people's hair, their body types, and then we'll get into facial features, and we'll be diagnosing Ming, which I'm very excited about for today, because that was really Lillian's her main body of work. She was really about helping people get on their golden path and love themselves. So Ming, destiny, that can also be called golden path or your mandate from heaven. And this is really what we're to do on the planet. Each one of us has a destiny. We're all meant to do something here. We're all meant to be something. We're meant to embody a certain elemental balance and also certain gifts that we're going to share with the world. And that's really what we're talking about today, is helping someone share their talents and gifts with the world, and for them to feel that confidence, to feel standing strong in their spirit to really be able to do this. And so I want to talk extensively about Ming before we get into reading the people. And the first thing is really living by spirit. And what does that mean? So we each have our own spirit. And when I first learned about Shen in school, you know, we talked maybe a couple hours about Shen in school. That was it, at least where I went. And nothing against the school, there's so much to cover. But as you've all probably realized, over the years, Chinese medicine has shifted more and more away from Shen, more towards Qi, and now really towards Jing. And we're talking about, you know, tendons and ligaments and blood draws and looking at the pressure points and these trigger points, which all has its place and is all wonderful. But Shen has been kind of lost. And so through studying with Lillian and Master Wu, I've started to understand more about what Shen means. And Shen is really a light that is emanating from your body. It's glowing through your skin, through your eyes, and it's your love that you're sending out to the world. And it's just like when you have a light that reflects through a crystal, you know, it goes through this crystal and it's going to come out as a certain rainbow of colors. We each have our own rainbow. And it's to understand what that rainbow of colors is, and then we can live by that spirit. So through facial reading, we can look at someone to understand what does their spirit need, what does their spirit want. For example, You look at someone and their earlobes are attached to their head. Mine are not attached, but people who are attached, they really need to spend time with their family. They need to communicate with their family. It doesn't mean they're going to be in the Brady Bunch, but it does mean that they have to have that for their spirit. Their spirit needs that. And so that's a really important aspect. And that's something that we'll look at and we'll talk about. So you want to take care of the body, of course, because the body is the vessel that your spirit is within. And you want to stand in your power. That's a phrase that we hear a lot, but it really is true. We want to stand in our full power with our spirit and really be who we are. And it doesn't mean that we're in our power, we're over someone. We're all equal on this planet. No one's above someone else. But it is within our power to stand truly who we are and to follow those signs. And so there'll be signs on our path to tell us, oh, we are on the right trajectory. And we'll talk about those in just a moment. And as you're doing this, it's about believing in yourself. So you'll see when I do face reading, I begin with all the positives because I want to really help them, kind of bolster them and help them feel more full and have their spirit really be in their body. And so when they're believing in themselves, they're loving themselves, that is going to help their spirit stay within the body and shine. Because you are going to meet challenges on your path. And before we started today, Lauren and I were talking about some of these changes that happen on our path. And he was talking about Randine Lewis having this retreat on the Tao of Death. I'm not might be saying exactly right, but that idea, and how you go through this dark night of the soul. And this doesn't just happen once, it happens many times. At least it has happened to me many times, where it's kind of more and more light starts to break through. And so I think it was Rumi that said, wound is where the light shines through. And so we have these wounds, these different traumas, these different dark nights of the soul. We're going through something to really process it and then shine even brighter. And so ultimately what can happen as we get on our destiny path, we can change our karma. And we'll talk about that too. And just to talk about this whole idea of a path, your destiny path, I don't think it's a tight wire. We're not just on one specific path. It's kind of a broad path. It's not huge, but it's broad enough where there's some wiggle room. And so we're helping to guide people on their path to try to avoid those pitfalls, to really be able to move forward fully and walk unencumbered on their destiny path.